how do you reduce your cost of acquisition? Have the customer stay longer and spend more. And all of a sudden they increase their value. And I just really think it's about different sophistication in different sectors.
Nice. And talk to me about the difference between businesses that are going, oh, we want to bring this all in-house. We're just going to hire somebody to do all of our marketing versus outsourcing and bringing it to you. Welcome to 7 to 8, our special series on 7 to 8 figure entrepreneurs. In this special series, I interview $1 million, some $10 million, and even some $1 million business owners who uncovered their twists and turns in their entrepreneurial adventure in order to help you to avoid the potholes and stick to the fast track. Welcome now to Center Stage, our next special guest. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedlick, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Tyler. Tyler, thank you so much for being here with us today.
It is my pleasure. I am honored to be on. I'm honored to be sitting on the other side of the microphone for a change. It's a lot. It feels different over here than on the
right?
on the host side. So thanks for inviting me on.
Awesome. So give everybody the highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
My name is Tyler Chisholm. I'm the CEO and founding partner at Clearmotive Marketing, which I'll circle back on that in a second. I'm also the host of 2 podcasts, one called They Just Get It, where I talk to the weirdos, the freaks, the people that live on the fringe that maybe are pursuing a life that wasn't clearly laid out by their guidance counselor. You do what? And you get paid for that? Tell me more. So I started doing that probably about 5-6 years ago. It had a little bit of a different theme at that point, but it's really my guilty pleasure where I get to have the most fun conversations with whoever I feel like.
Nice.
Then the second one I run, which is called Collisions YYC, which focuses on economic transformation in Calgary, Alberta, and Western Canada in that order. I started that one right before COVID, and then all of a sudden everyone was available and wanted to talk. So we are launching our 400th episode in January. Not sure when this episode is going to come out, but we're 4 episodes in. We talk to everyone from the venture capital market to the traditional energy space, energy transition. We talk to startups, the tech ecosystem, from everything from fintech to ag tech to just pick the word and bolt tech onto it. It's an amazing podcast that really gives you like, oh, I didn't think there was that much going on in this province. Wrong. There is a ton going on here. So I do that as a passion project that I joke got completely out of hand during COVID. But Clearmotive, we've been running that. We celebrated our 15-year anniversary this year. We're a marketing agency. We have teams across the country. We were a Toronto, Calgary office structure, but COVID changed all that for us. So now we've gone full remote. So we have team members as far away as Northern Italy to as local as down the street from me. But funny, I see them more on Zoom than I see them in real life. And we focus on a model of transform, accelerate, and execute. So we have clients that fit all the way through that mantra. A lot of times we work with mid-sized companies all the way up to enterprise, where we really love to play. And I believe also feel very lucky to get the opportunity is when companies go, hey, we've been who we are for a while. We need to look at a different direction. Either our customers have changed, the market has shifted, which is every day. We need to look at our brand. We need the way we consolidate and bring our products and our offerings together. Help us with that, and then accelerate that, get it out in market, and then operationalize it in more of almost a marketing operation approach. And we do that with national brands from Hopewell Residential here in Alberta. We do all their single multifamily to Honda Canada. We manage all their motorcycle, marine, and ATV and power equipment business for the Canadian division, and a handful of amazing, more smaller to medium-sized companies, often in Western Canada, where we take what we learn from the big players and we bring that down and apply it across the board, where maybe teams are smaller, budgets are different, but that need to be present in market is ever there.
I love it. Well, 2 things. One, I love that nobody's going to be able to put this podcast on 2X. If anything, they're going to be slowing down. And second of all, we all get to blame the lockdown on you.
Well, okay. All right.
I wanted to be able to interview people,
broad shoulders.
And bam. There it was.
All right. I might have be over caffeinated, so I'll try to slow down a little bit, Michelle.
No.
I've been accused of a fast speaker, but anyways, thanks for calling me out on that.
It's hilarious. I'm like, this is awesome. So let's back up the bus about how did you get into marketing as your thing?
I was a commercial pilot, which is
of course,
yeah, that's obviously the clear path to marketing. I'm being honest here. I took one marketing course in school while I was doing my science degree and also becoming a commercial pilot. I moved to Alberta, and this little pesky thing called 9/11 happened. And all of a sudden there wasn't a lot of aviation jobs available for all kinds of reasons. It'd be the equivalent of becoming a fresh 400-hour new certified pilot right before COVID and all the airlines shut down. And I found myself in Alberta, found myself getting the entrepreneurial bug, falling in love. I'm originally from Montreal, moved here in 2000 and fell in love with business, I worked in the health and fitness industry, but I really started to see like, oh, this industry is emerging and there's an opportunity to build a business. And I fell in love with branding. I read the 22 Immutable Laws of Branding by Al Rice. And I fell in love with this concept of, if you can't be number one in a category, then redefine the category. And I was like, wow, nobody needs that more than the weight loss in the fitness market. So I said, I'm going to do that. So I started reading everything I could on marketing, started a business, realized I didn't know a whole bunch of other things about business. So started taking courses, but marketing was the one thing that always I love, because of its power, the power to create a story, the power to connect with customers, to create a brand out of nothing and have people want to be part of it. And I was like, wow, I'm going to go all in on this. If I could be a lawyer, I could be an accountant. I'm like, but I could be a marketer, because then I get to also play in so many different areas of business. Met my my current business partner. I was a client of his. He was doing my marketing for the fitness center and the weight. We developed this whole program called Active Weight Loss, which was our redefining the category, which I won't unpack that too much, but it was my first experience of doing it for myself. And I was like, what if I could do this for other companies? This would be amazing. And that was how I got into marketing. Mm-hmm.
Love it. So unpack it a little bit so that people understand the difference between going, hey, I want to stand out in my business, so we're going to change our brand colors to red and blue, to how this works.
Brand is not a logo, folks. Brand is not a logo. I repeat that. It is so much more. The promise of delivery, the promise of an experience, the experience they have when they work with you, how that's represented and how that comes alive through look and feel. That's oftentimes the exciting part, because it's more tangible. But the intangible is that promise that you've made to the market that then you work your ass off to keep. And that the goal is that promise is important to your customers. That's your brand. And there's so many ways to define it. That's how I love to define it. Because, they're like, oh, we haven't really worked on our brand. I'm like, do you have customers? Yes. If I talk to them and they tell me about what it was like to work with you, we might be on the path to what your brand actually is or isn't. It's like saying you don't have a culture. If you have a group of people, you have a culture. Were you deliberate about it? That's a different conversation. So in this case, that's where I really fell in love with the ability to be deliberate around that story, that promise. And I do love the creative. So don't get me wrong, the ability to bring it alive. So when you see something and you go, oh yeah, like that's us, that's me. That represents who we are. And then the customer sees it and go, oh, I want to be part of that. I can relate to that. That resonates with me. And that's where brand can be very fluffy and esoteric and looked at. I live in Calgary. This is a city run by engineers and accountants, who I love. I have many friends, but they look at it and go, wow, this is kind of fluffy. Like, who cares about that? But yet those same individuals have affinity to, they drive Mercedes, or they go on vacations to certain spots, or they love a certain hotel chain. But sometimes for their own businesses, they go, no, we're bricks and mortar, or we're technology, or we're hardware, or we're big iron. We don't care about that. But humans still want to connect. And I think that's where brand plays such an important role in any business, B2B, B2C, technology, oil and gas, whatever it is. It has different levels of importance based on how competitive it is and what the other players are doing. But that ability to tell the story and make it come alive through your communications, your tone of voice, it's heavy lifting, but it's worth it. And I love it.
Nice. One of the trends that I've noticed lately is this personification of the ownership. So you take Amazon, Tesla, right? It's a personification of them. How important do you think that is, especially in highly competitive industries? And maybe it is oil and gas, iron, and they're going, seriously, nobody cares who I am.
But to get the personal branding is really what you're talking about. Yep. and how important it is. My own theories around that is what is brand? At another definition might be, it's the personality of a company. Because at the end of the day, we're still humans connecting with other humans, and we look for those, hey, Disney's been successful because they humanize inanimate objects, right? And we go, oh my God, look at the lamp. I love the lamp. Or I love the whatever.
Pixar did awesome on that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. On the lamp. Yeah, totally. Pixar on the lamp. I shouldn't give credit.
Come on.
Disney pioneered that. But thinking about our need to connect on a human level. And I think when we create these larger than life characters, whether they are, they aren't, or they have a good PR team, and some of these individuals, they're not the ones posting on social media, and someone doing it for them. I do think it still touches us at a level that is closer to our humanity and closer to who we are, where we look and we relate to other humans. And if you're even in oil, but yeah, the argument, I think about some of the guys I know that have done really, really well in the energy sector as sales guys, people do care who they are because they build relationships with them. They connect with them. They have experiences with them. So it's a balance, and it is a multi-pronged strategy. Your business can still have it standalone, but sometimes those larger than life CEOs, and we still love our celebrity, right? So it kind of falls a bit in that category as well. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I would say that, having been born and raised in Calgary in particular, and for the audience, keep in mind, we're in oil and gas ranch country, right? It traditionally is kind of the old boys club, but it's also a community of people of, it's important who you know and how you know them. And weirdly enough, I think the personalities of those people have kind of always ingrained the companies. And now with millennials and the changes that they're doing, they want more integrity, more vulnerability in company. It's not so much that you're kind of taking that away so much as you're enhancing it and going, okay, we just want a peek into it. We want to see who the company is. We want to kind of have that little something going on so that we know that at the end of the day, I like who I've given my money to. Does that make sense?
Which actually, it's hard to debate that, right? Because you're like, well, yeah, I'm okay with that. I can get behind that.
You can get behind that. Awesome.
And we also love to take opinions, and we love to get on our own soapboxes, and we love to rally for and against, and that just feels like it's accelerating at a level that kind of fits into this whole narrative, right?
All right. So talk to me more about when somebody's working with you. What kind of stumbling blocks are they looking at? Are they going, hey, our marketing's not working for us? Are they going, hey, it just feels stale? What kind of state are they in before they tend to come to you?
There's a variety of different entrance points. And oftentimes it'll be very specific and a little bit smaller. Like, we've got something we need to do. Like, it still can be very tactical and can be the thing. And some of our largest clients, we got them because they needed a brochure, but it had to be done by Friday, and their current team couldn't do it. So they reached out and said, can you help? I'm picking an old school example because one of our clients we've had that's how it started. We had 24 hours to turn around.
How often that happens.
Yeah, we had to turn around an ad in 24 hours. And we got a call because my business partner had a night on the town with one of these individuals back in like 2001 at the Montreal Supercross. There's a whole story there. And that individual all of a sudden became head of brand at a very large OEM manufacturer and said, oh man, I'm screwed. I know you can help me. Can you help? Can you solve my problem? And that was like the immediate SWAT team approach. And I can't tell you how many times we've ended up having large working, and most agencies or anyone who's listening is like, they're like, of course, that is how it comes in. What we often see on a broader scale, it's what happens next. It's like, okay, you helped us with that. And like, oh, I've got these other things. Sometimes it's, digital transformation. I'll say that in a very broad one, because we've had a few clients over the last years, like my marketing, my sales aren't connected. I need attribution. I need to understand. I need to justify to my leadership team our dollars and where we're seeing our ROI and where's working to the best of our ability. Because that is a bit of a panacea. We all think when you pull back the layer, it's all beautifully transparent, but it's not. But you can get a lot closer to it. So we've had some clients that was their biggest challenge. We did that with one of our large home builder clients, where we can now attribute what happens on Facebook as example, or Google, all the way through to the types of leads the salespeople are getting and the quality, and whether that's transitioning to actually the purchase of a home. So part of our journey with them was their old agency wasn't able to do that, and we were. So then we slowly took over a larger portion of the business, but also helped them transform. So another example would be, well, I think we're out of touch, or our customers have changed, or we want to go into a new market. There's something new. There's an opportunity on the horizon, and it's different than the status quo. It's different than what they're doing every day, where it's either regular campaigns. And I'm thinking about companies that are more in an always on status. That's different than a company goes, oh, we have a trade show coming up. Help us do the trade show. But then we'll call you next year when the trade show comes around again. Versus companies that are like, no, we're always active in market. They're usually typically a little bit more mature. They're a lot more competitive. There's other companies that are offering similar. It can be commoditized, which no brand wants to think they're being commoditized. But if I'm not educated and I'm just getting new into the lawnmower market, I might just go and go, oh, lawnmower is a lawnmower. But certain brands are like, no, our lawnmower is better. And let me tell you why. And they've got to be sending that message out on a regular basis. Those types of clients, there's an always on approach where we're very good at operationally and executing high volume, consistent campaigns. But where the fun really comes and where we can really make a difference with those clients is, okay, the whole world of how people buy lawnmowers is changing. We need to now look at not only how we position it, but how they buy, what that's going to look like digitally. That's where some of the real, like, I love it all, but that's fun because now you're solving a Rubik's Cube with them.
Love it. So is there a difference in your mind between kind of the traditional marketing of the brochures and getting ready for trade shows things to we want to be able to market online? So maybe somebody's in that transition point of going from traditional to, okay, we need to just market this all the time now.
If there's just thinking about that now, there's a little bit behind. So if you're just having this conversation, like you need to get going. Like, I'll be super clear. What is consistent and what I think sometimes gets lost, and this is where I'll step out onto my soapbox here for a second. Digital's the answer to everything. Digital's going to have all the metrics. Let's just put stuff up and figure it out. Okay. That's an expensive, it's like going to Vegas and thinking you have a system. That's a good way to spend a lot of money. Cause I don't know if you know, but there's certain companies that have built platforms that will suck your credit card dry while promising you, sending you quality leads. But if you haven't done the work of like, who is my ideal customer profile? What is my product or service? What is it about that product or service that that customer actually cares about? Not what I think they care about. What problem am I truly solving for them? What's the messaging hierarchy of how I structure that together? You want to go farther, it's also what are the stages of that journey, knowing that it's complex and long and it isn't a linear process as much as we love to draw the funnel and go, this is how it works. They're going to become aware, then they're going to become curious, then they're going to consider. It's a mismatch of a journey. What collateral do they want from me and when do they want to hear from me and when they not? That work should be universally true no matter where you decide to apply it. If you're going to go online, if you haven't done that work, and you can still test it online, like don't get me wrong, it's an amazing environment to go, okay, this might be the thing we think they love the most. This might be the second thing. But if you have no clue what either of those are to start with, you can burn money online like it's going out of style, more so than in like, I did a print publication, I got it wrong. The worst thing that happened is I didn't hear from anyone. Versus Google's just chipping away every day, serving up the wrong ad to the wrong group of people with the wrong message for not the right product, but they're still charging you money for it, probably charging you more because you didn't do that work. So the universal truth that I find is very boring. My original career was in the fitness industry. No one wants to hear that to get in shape, you need to eat right. You need to have a good night's sleep. Like, yeah. What's the magic pill? Marketing falls victim to the, what? No. Yeah. That's fine for normal people. What can I do to make a difference? I find marketing is the same. There's a lot of, we expect our customers to buy differently than we buy. I very rarely see an ad, and I don't know, Michelle, maybe you do, and you go, oh, I see that, I love it, I'm going to go there and give that company money right away. That's not how it works. But yet I talk to senior leaders, sophisticated leaders in large companies, and they're like, okay, it's been 2 weeks. How come we haven't got any, like, how come it hasn't converted? I'm like, is that how you buy? Well, no. Yeah, I know that. But like, I want to know these results right away. Maybe, and hopefully we did the work and we are now learning and testing and understanding that all these hypotheses that we made, some based on some very sound data, some we're stretching and we're testing, and that's okay. But you've got to do that core work first, then start to think about where your customers are and what channels will be relevant, i.e. trade show, call that a channel. And online, also a channel, display or search or social or whatever you might. What are the myriad of options you can have as a business?
I love it. I think one of the things that I've noticed that people are losing sight of is that they're lost leaders in the front, and that the real value, the profitability of a client is what you do with them long term.
From an agency perspective, like thinking of it that way, or thinking of just anything across the board, like lifetime value of customer.
Exactly. So do you see that trend in the industry, that people are just focused on kind of that initial transactions, like how can I get as much of them right now, and then nothing? And because you're the business that you are in, obviously I'm assuming that you nurture those clients and take care of them, but what's your experience in that?
From a client perspective, like we've had some of our best clients for 6 years, 12 years, like lifetime value of that client, I would say is exponentially more than I even thought, kind of going into it, which is then really translates to what are you willing to do? Then sometimes what are you willing to pay for that client? I find that there's a lot, it's easy to be transactional. It really depends on the industry and really depends on your sophistication and how comfortable you are with your marketing. A lot of the clients that we work with I'll put it this way. We don't have to convince them that marketing is a good idea. We just need to convince them to do it with us. Those clients have a much different understanding of the long-term value, the loyalty, your database, your communication, how you're staying connected. Somebody who's going, okay, we've run out of tricks. We're struggling a little bit. Our old playbook doesn't work because COVID blew everything up and our customers now have changed. They buy differently. They want to be more online. We're not there. There's a real tendency to kind of almost believe the hype of that transactional nature of online advertising and marketing, versus somebody who's like, no, advertising is part of our game. It's one of our levers. We understand it. And we also understand that loyalty, that customer, like, how do you reduce your cost of acquisition? Have the customer stay longer and spend more. And all of a sudden they increase their value. And I just really think it's about different sophistication in different sectors.
Nice. And talk to me about the difference between businesses that are going, oh, we want to bring this all in-house. We're just going to hire somebody to do all of our marketing, versus outsourcing and bringing it to you.
That is a great question. We are the most successful when there is either a single or small marketing team in-house that understands what they're good at, what they're not good at. And they have a management or leadership team that says, hey, we need you because we need someone to funnel all this and be the point of contact. If our point of contact is the VP of operations, the COO, the CEO, the CFO. That's not a great strategy for them or us. It's not going to work out. But if we've got someone who's maybe at a manager level that was a coordinator that really gets what needs to be done and says, hey, I really know how to partner with an agency, and don't worry, I'll funnel you the things you need to be successful. Those are really good relationships. We work with companies. Okay, let's talk about where they blow it up, because I think if I can read between the lines, where they blow it up is they don't understand what it actually takes. I read the job description. I'm like, that's 7 people you just described in that job description. Oh yeah, no, and they just graduated. We're going to pay them 50 grand a year. It's going to be awesome. I'm like, it is not going to be awesome. It's going to be terrible. They're going like, let's just talk about the employee for a second. They're going to feel like a failure, because they're always going to be under the gun. They're always going to be getting shit on by everybody for not getting it. Get me a brochure tomorrow. I need a business card. Like, oh, by the way, what's up with their Facebook account? They're going to get destroyed just by the fact that they're not an expert in everything. And it really gives them a bad experience in marketing. And I think that it's an industry that I love. I've been in it for 15 years, and sometimes it doesn't get the respect it does. I don't want to say deserves, but could have, because companies don't set the right parameters up for success. Like, highest turnover in the C-suite is the CMO, and some of those statistics have been floating around, only followed by the CTO next. Where it's done really, really well, like we have one of our clients, they have an internal team. So they have a designer on site that does all their quick last minute, because they're an organization that has to be sensitive to what's happening in the market. So sometimes speed is like, when you have an in-house team, you can typically move a little bit faster. So there's a speed advantage there, no question. What you don't get is kind of that fractional access to 20 years of experience. So we have a senior strategist. He might spend 5 or 10% of our budgets with a certain client of his time, but that access, you'd have to spend a 250 grand, 200 grand, 150 grand to have that person on site, and you wouldn't have enough work for them. How do you get fractional access to that? That is the amazing thing that an agency partnership can provide, in partnership with a small, lean, often overworked internal team, that we can take things off their hands, set them up for success, help them even set up strategies that then they might execute on, like a Facebook strategy, depending on what, the role it plays in the company, that type of thing. So I see it done very poorly. I see it as a way to do it really, really well. If you understand enough to know what an internal team, and if you've got the budget and you want to build out a full internal team, like you're rapid growing SaaS, you're at scale up phase, you've just received a big round of funding, and you've got to execute a whole bunch of work really, really quickly. I see those companies bringing a lot of talent in-house, and I get why, but I think it's just, if leadership understands where the strengths and the weaknesses are, and where an outside agency can add value and take things off their often overworked internal team's plate, it can really be a successful balance when both are in play. But I do understand why companies go down each road, right?
So let's talk about when you first started your business. Did you start your business with the intention of becoming $1 million business plus, or was it just, hey, this is kind of fun, we'll start? Where are we at?
No, absolutely not. It was all about grow, revenue, profitability. Let's make money. Let's build something awesome, but let's build something, and let's build it big. And of course, the $1 million, I love the number, because no matter how much the passage of time, it's $1 million worth what it used to. It was still a goal line. And I think it is for so many businesses, and things change. Things change drastically from, oh, we made 400, 500 grand to doubling to $1 million. It's still doubling, even though in the scope of business, it can seem like a smaller number. So absolutely, our goal from the get-go was to hit the $1 million mark and keep growing from there.
Love it. So when you were doing that, what kind of things did you see worked well? Let's start with them, because that could be a whole conversation of itself.
Well, what are you selling? How scalable is it? Who's your customer? What's the size of market? Like, you can break all that down. But for us, it's like, we were young, we were enthusiastic. We saw marketing as like, wow, everyone could be our customer, which that's death. Don't ever go to market with that strategy, because no, not everyone is going to be your customer. Maybe they could. So we just focused on really understanding. Ours was a billable service-based model. So we really understood, if $1 million a year is divided by 12 is $83,333.33 a month. We have X amount of people billing out. At that time was probably 95 or 125 an hour. What does that translate to? Oh, wow. And I remember the day I said to my business partner, I said, hey, by the way, to hit this number, we've got to make this, and we've got to cover our expenses of this. And he was a creative director, and all it did was stress him out. I don't want to know these numbers. I can't ever see how we're going to get there. And so it definitely was a church and state moment for him and I, even as a team, to understand who was managing what part of the business. He's like, I'll do the work, but you manage that and don't tell me, because it's just going to stress me out. So we set very, very clear numbers around how much volume of work we would need to do. And then over time, backfilled, what's the best kind of work? Where is our sweet spot? Where are we the most effective? Is that 100 clients doing X, or is it 3 clients doing Y? Really trying to understand that mix. And it sounds really clear in hindsight, but we fumbled our way through it at the beginning. But our goal was always to build very quickly we said, all right, if we were going to be 50 people, what would we need? What kind of HR infrastructure? What kind of workflow infrastructure? We were 6 people when we made that statement, to be clear. So everything we were doing was to build bigger than where we were, which is critical if you're going to scale and grow past the ability of a couple people to generate even more money or to spread that over a larger team. The systems and processes to be able to make sure it didn't break when you added that volume in, which is the sales number. That's what we played with over a multi-year period of time. And I think probably took us a couple years to get there. We got there fairly quickly and then hovered in that $1 million to $2 million range and then shot up from there with a couple big wins that I talked about earlier.
Nice. So what would you, if you could do it all over again, what would you do differently that might streamline it or make it easier for you?
Bring in somebody who'd done it before in the type of business that we were in. And I don't necessarily, that may be great if you could find a hire or somebody that could be in a senior, but you can't always afford those people. But don't be shy to get an external viewpoint, people that have systemized and scaled businesses. And yeah, there's the $100 million scales, but there's people that have taken a business from nothing to 5 million, 6 million, 4 million, 10 million. They've learned those ropes. And if it's a similar industry to you, specifically ours was a service-based model, there was ways, there was tools, there was things that we learned the hard way that we could have got some tips and tricks kind of sooner on in the process. Somebody's already done what you're about to do. Reach out there and trust me, they'll probably help you. They're probably willing to even just have a couple of coffees with you. And that can go a long way to avoiding landmines that you're probably going to step on.
Love it. So what about for people that are going, oh, but they're my competition. They're not going to come and sit and have coffee with me.
Oh, but depending on your market size, find someone from another market, find someone who's in an adjacent business. What I always love is I want businesses that are like us, but aren't in our space. So law firms, accounting firms, engineering firms, there's so many service companies with billable models that were absolutely like us that have been doing this forever. We're like, oh, what's the magic formula? I'm like, someone's already figured out the formula. And it doesn't mean you have to take it verbatim, but look at adjacent industries. You don't have to. And yes, your competitors, when you get a little bit bigger, I do find in Western Canada, there's a lot more willing to, I have a lot of friends that run agencies and we get together just to talk about agency stuff. And every once in a while, we're competing with each other. But if you go with a sense of abundance, there may be your competitor on paper, but in reality, you probably have a different value proposition. You probably have a different like real segment that you're targeting. The willingness later on for those people to get involved and build your network with them is key. But earlier on, look for adjacent businesses with similar ways of working. I learned more from them than I did kind of looking in a mirror.
Love it. So when you're looking at your business right now, what are your goals and aspirations? Where do you see your company going?
Oh, great question. Continually to refine and scale our ability to be efficient with our workflow. I think that's an endless journey that you're on, especially as we've transitioned to a full remote team. The need and the requirement, you don't bump into anyone in the office. So everything needs to be documented. Here's the secret. It did before, but you could get away with it. You should never get away with it. So workflow and processes, that's the boring answer. I think from our perspective in the last 18 to 20 months, since we really revised our business model, streamlined how we worked, increased our amount of external resources, streamlined our internal team members, it's now time to scale that a little bit. So kind of a go-to-market strategy where kind of what I mentioned earlier around who's the client that we're going to cause the biggest, most positive impact with, that we're also going to love to work with. Because if you love to work with them, you do better work. It's just a fact. We're all little kids. If it's fun, we do it. And if it's not fun, we do it less good. Focusing on scaling that a little bit in Western Canada, but also across the country. For us, it's a little bit of a growth model that is still tied to who we are and what we do. It's not, we're going to pivot and reposition. Let's scale and let's bring in a few more clients that are the fit in terms of our ICP, while simultaneously making sure that our ability to deliver efficiently and effectively on time, on task, and on budget does not waver with growth. And that's always the trade-off in a service-based model.
Nice. And is there any advice you would give to somebody that's looking for that kind of the $1 million mark? We'll start there. And they're just not finding the traction that they're looking for.
Find out where you're getting in your own way. If you can't scale over $1 million and you know that there's a customer, like there's some things you have to, do you have a product or service that the market values? Is there a market that is willing and is capable to pay? But yet you're still not able to crack that $1 million mark. And again, talk to people, join business groups, get peer advice. Like I think it's really important to get out of your own echo chamber and expose yourself. But oftentimes, where are you holding yourself back? Where do you have a belief that's like, that's just the way it has to happen? You meet someone, they're like, why don't you do it this way? Be open to those suggestions because they might sound simple, but you might be bumping up. So you're probably bumping up against your own limitations. And I say that we all have limitations and we grow through them. And, our businesses grow and we catch up. We grow and our businesses catch up. There is that interrelationship. And There's moments of time when you're the perfect leader for your business, and there's other times when you feel out of sync with it. Really take those out of sync times seriously. And I've found a lot more benefit through personal reflection, where almost what I thought was true or what I believed to be true was holding me back. It's not sure, you can take business courses and learn the new formula and the new matrix for building something. It's usually your own story and your own bullshit that gets in your way. And don't be scared to look at that, because if you're running up against the wall, but all those other factors you believe are solid, it might be you.
Awesome. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you for an example of a Cinderella story of one of your clients, but we're going to pause for 1 minute.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.
Fabulous. So give us an example of a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
A real story or hypothetical story?
No, she's not made up. It's the real story, but
okay, real. Yeah, of course. Right to Riches story. Again, a client that will remain nameless out of respect for the guilty or the innocent. We were brought on to take what had happened, which this is a global motorsports brand. They had fallen, I think, through the 08-09 recession to number 3 or 4 in terms of volume sales in their category in Canada. They had a fractional agency model where they had like 4 or 5, 6 partners all working on the same work, and they just fragmented out. They didn't have an AOR, which is an agency of record model, specifically for this division. We were one of the 7 that was doing work, that was doing brochures on last minute and overnight ads and that type of thing. We got invited to the table and they said, hey, we want to go to an AOR model. We're inviting 4 people. So this is our Cinderella story as well as theirs. So we were 9 people at the time. We got invited to pitch on a piece of business that the next smallest agency to us was 120 people. We were the only agency in Western Canada. All the other agencies were in Toronto. The client was in Toronto. And so just being invited to the pitch was like, okay, this is our TSN turning point. Like this, we're going to throw everything at this. As well as they said, your number one goal and the only thing we want to focus on is being number 1 in the category. Like we're going to get back there, and you need to help us get there. And you need to help us get organized in the process. We haven't met a deadline for a campaign in a year. We missed stuff. It's right, because they had 7 agencies doing work that one agency could do. So it was a bit of a mess, and that they knew it, and they self-diagnosed. So we went into this pitch and we didn't pitch on creative. And the reason I say that, because everyone was good creative. Like these were great agencies. We were all at the table. They even said to us, you could use creative from our last campaign you did with us, because you don't even have to come up with something new. So they were very respectful, didn't work us to the bone in the pitch. But what they really wanted was help us get organized. But they didn't say that. It was in between the lines. It was a perfect example. If you read the RFP, you would get it. If you read it again and again, you might really get it. And so we went to the table with we just built a social internet platform for another client to help them kind of bridge. There was 120 physiotherapy clinics across the country. They need to find a way to unify their brand because they'd grown rapid through acquisition. So we just have experience building this social internet platform. So we said to ourselves, we said, what if this was before Asana and Monday.com and Slack, and before now I'm dating myself. It was way back in like 2011. And so we came to the table with a fully built out social internet platform with all of the 8 campaigns they wanted for us, fully organized, mapped out with the assets already uploaded into the campaign. And we put that into the pitch. And back in the old days, you didn't rely on text. So we showed it as slides. And I remember 3/4 of the way through the pitch, the head of brand said to me, goes, Tyler, do you mean to tell me that this is live right now? And I said, his name was Trevor. I said, Trevor, when we get this business, and because we already know Honda, oh, so sorry, I wasn't supposed to say who it was. It was a large motorcycle brand. I won't say. I'll remain nameless. We know you're going to want to start this work tomorrow. So yes, this is fully operational. And he just looks at me and he goes, smart. And like, in my mind, he put a check mark on his page. I don't know if he actually did, but that's what I remember seeing. We won the business. And in the next year, we worked with them to get everything back on time and on track timing wise. We developed processes. We used the platform that we created. We launched them on social media. We launched their Facebook. We drove their followers up to 50,000 followers in a short period of time. And within a year and a half, it took us almost 2 years, because it's a big needle to move. We got them back to number 1 volume sales in the category. And we've been their agency ever since.
Good for you. That's awesome.
There's my there was that I double-ended that Cinderella story.
Right? Oh, good. I love it. So
and we've been loving working with them ever since.
nice. So we mentioned a few things. The disorganization, I think, of the marketing departments is a big one. Like that tends to be overlooked. That I've worked with companies before that they get kind of too big. They have too many divisions, and not everybody doesn't have time to communicate. Right. So certain divisions are doing certain events, they're promoting it on their own, and they don't have a cohesive marketing plan. What other kind of stumbling blocks might somebody be having that they're listening to this right now going, oh my God, Tyler, we need you guys so bad?
First things first, do you have a marketing strategy? Well, first of all, do you have a business plan? Because remember, marketing is always in service of the business, not the other way around. It sounds so obvious to say, but sometimes marketing is like, oh, that's neat. That's fun. Let's go over here. And we chase shiny stuff. Like what, a shiny bauble? I want that thing. Go show it to me. Well, let's do it. That's the new technology. Let's launch it tomorrow. What's the business strategy? What's the marketing strategy that then supports the marketing plan? And then we can get into the tactics. We get so drunk on the new channel. And what about TikTok? And our competitor launched influencer videos and blah, blah, blah. Can I hold it back up against, back to your point about brand strategy? This looks amazing, but does it hold up against? So first things first, go back to the well a little bit, make sure that you have a clear business strategy and you have a marketing plan, a marketing strategy that supports the business. To grow this business, we need to do these things. Okay. So therefore, these are the tactics we need to look at. And these are actually how we need to execute. So it sounds, again, it's boring. It's like, go back to the fitness program, have a good night's sleep, drink water, go back to your basics and start there. And I always want to start with the business plan. So first thing we ask our clients for, and they bring us in, they're like, oh, we got to do this. We have this challenge. I'm like, okay, let's walk through something we use that differentiates us as an agency. We will rarely show you our sizzle reel. We're rarely going to get into your like, here, I looked at your website. Here's what you're doing wrong. We want to talk about your business first because marketing is always in service of that. And I find a lot of marketing departments, people don't get into marketing always because they love the business side of it. They love the execution, the tactics, the analytics, the data, like, which I love that, but only if it serves its way back up to the business. So that would be the first place to start. It's maybe a little boring. It's like doing your homework and planning out your trip before you just go hiking off into the mountains and hope you have enough food and you get lost. That can happen in marketing all the time. You get lost without water and you're like, oh shit, we're going to have to overnight here. We are not prepared. That happens in marketing all the time because I think it loses connection and adhesion to the actual, what matters to growing the business.
Yeah, I like it. And it's really fun to use. Is not a marketing strategy. Just saying, if you're hearing that from your people, this is not good.
Yes. Yes. It's everybody knows marketing, but it's one of those, oh yeah, no, I fancy myself a bit of a marketer. When I hear that from a CEO, I'm like, okay, tell me more. And it could be 100% true. I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm like, tell me more. What do you mean by that? What's your definition? Let's talk about it. And it's the teams that go, yeah, we understand its power. We know that it's a discipline. We know it's a skill set. We know it can be an active lever for our business. Ooh, that's when I go, okay, now we can go to the dance together because it is a little bit of that. And there is some ebb and flow and some learning. We're always coming in humble. You can't see the label from inside the bottle. So we come in outside that label to offer perspective. And oftentimes companies, they know more about what their customers value than sometimes they realize. And they sometimes take the things that they do that actually differentiate them for granted because they just are so comfortable with how they do them. And those sometimes can be the low-hanging fruit in marketing of like, this is awesome, right? They're like, no, everybody does that. I'm like, no. Everybody does not do that thing that you do in your product or the way you service or customer success. Let's tell that story a little bit. And we find those little nuggets all the time. It's hard to do that when you're staring at them every day. Mm-hmm.
I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start that journey?
Clearmotive.ca, check out our website, but LinkedIn, I'm a big LinkedIn guy. I'm on there. I respond if you message me, Tyler Chisholm on LinkedIn. Also check me out on Instagram, Collisions YYC, if you want to hear about some cool stuff in Calgary. But yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn. Or also I will do what a lot of my guests also do, Tyler@clearmotive.ca. I will respond to you. I love talking to people, as you can tell, and I love my emails. So don't be shy, Tyler@clearmotive.ca, or by all means, please follow me or connect and reach out on LinkedIn and we can have a chat.
Nice. And please don't write that down while you're driving. We will, of course, have all Tyler's links in the show notes. So go ahead and click on those, open them up in a new browser, because, of course, we're not done yet. So I get to ask you, Tyler, at what point in life did you know that you were a special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
Before I knew enough to believe it wasn't true. So I have been unemployable since 2002. So my friend, a friend at senior HR consultant, Tyler, this is about probably 15 years ago. She goes, You're unemployable. I'm like, Jan, that might be the nicest thing you ever said to me. So I have been unemployable since 2003.
Confirmed
and
unemployable.
loving it. Yeah, I have the data to match it up. No one else signs my pay stub, my paycheck except me, and I love it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And also, I've been very fortunate. It's worked out. I've had an amazing team around me. I have a fantastic business partner. His name is Chad. I wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for the relationship. We celebrated 15 years this year. In agency years, that's like being 120. It's like dog years for sure. And so we celebrated that. And I've just been very fortunate, amazing clients and amazing people in my life. It just kept learning. It was never good enough, but I was still happy on the journey, and that drive and that commitment to always go, okay, did I get in my own way? Was it the market? No, it was probably me. Okay, what can I learn about that? That is the one thing that I keep unpacking as I grow. And as long as you're focusing on that, life will never be boring.
I love it. So did you have the bug before that, or was it just kind of the butterfly and metamorphosis happened that moment? It was like, hey.
I remember when I grew up on a farm, so very entrepreneurial by DNA. My dad had all these different businesses. I remember I think I was 7 or 8, and I took my wagon and I went around and gathered up all the things that I thought were just spare parts. And I was like, I came out, he's like, what are you doing with these? I'm like, I'm going to go sell them. He's like, well, but those aren't your parts. I'm like, he goes, you have to buy the things you sell. I'm like, huh. No, I need to rethink this whole business model. I don't know. So that's the first memory I have. And that's popped into my head recently for some reason. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. I will revamp. And then I forget. And then it was a lemonade stand, and a lot of the very traditional things. So it wasn't cool to be an entrepreneur when I was younger. You get sent to remedial program. Now you can take an entrepreneurial course. When I was graduating, they said that they looked at you like something was wrong. Oh, you should take shop if you want to talk like that. Like it was not celebrated like it is today. So I think it was always there, and doing things the way I want to do them, because I believe I know a way that I think is the right way. That's been in my DNA since the get-go. And that was very encouraged when I was younger. So I think it laid the entrepreneurial framework, but never called it being an entrepreneur.
I love it. You've been absolutely awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
Stay humble. If something's not working out, you probably had a hand in it. Take some time, figure that out, and go forward.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I know how valuable it is.
Thanks, Michelle. I loved it. It was a great chat.
Awesome. Peeps, thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show, share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow. Thank you for listening to 7 to 8. If you're interested in upping your speaking game, be sure to connect with our guests with the links in the show notes, and connect with me to see how we can help you get your tech done for you and help your speaking dreams come true.